This is
Yeah.
a collection of stories.
Landover Legend Studios presents.
I've been through a lot.
The I Can't Make This Up podcast.
Yeah.
By Big T.
How about you?
Oh man, not too bad. I am up early editing videos and uploading for next week's shows,
Nice. I see you got yours playing in the background there.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
So man, I gotta ask, did you get a chance to check out any of my previous content?
I did. That's why I agreed to do this. Not trying to be like I'm so popular I get asked all the time, but I do get asked, to be on stuff podcasts, and it ultimately comes down to if I think the person is cool or not.
Mhm.
And so I checked out your content. I looked at your Friday review
Okay.
and I was like, yeah, this guy's cool. Yeah, I'll do it because there's a lot of psychos and clout chasers and everything out there. So it's on an individual basis, I guess. Yeah, I think you're a cool guy. So
I appreciate that, man. I've been a fan of yours for a while. I discovered your YouTube channel while surfing for some One Punch Man videos, and I like the way you break it down as a true fan and give your analytical expertise to it, and then the
there you go.
theories.
Yeah, the theories never end. There's
Yeah.
always a new one. There's always one for people to get excited about or get upset with you about too.
Well, one thing I thought was kind of interesting, your theory on Stitch and about him being blessed, and I just was like, things
No,
happen.
Stitch knowing Blast. I didn't think Stitch was Blast.
Okay, all right, my mistake on that one. But I was just like, I just was like, I didn't think an apology video was necessary, but
Oh no, the bearded worker I
yeah.
thought was Blast, not Stitch. I made the apology video as kind of like a tongue-in-cheek kind of funny thing because I put so much hype on it, and like a lot of the videos that I made about it kind of went viral, or to an extent. And I also even had merch on one of those videos, so I kind of felt bad. And instead of just everyone consistently roasting me in follow-up videos and whatnot, let me just put one video out there saying that, look, guys, I was wrong, and you can just put all the roasting here. So I think it kind of worked because I don't think I've been roasted too much lately. The fact that I was wrong about that, even though it's not 100% confirmed that he's not the bearded worker yet, but I have given up. I'm sure Blast is just his own dude, and the bearded worker maybe doesn't even exist anymore in the story. Maybe he was only just there in the beginning. But
Yeah, I think that when you're speculating on the mind of another individual that no one truly knows, you can only guess based on past experiences. So it's like this could happen or it couldn't. So a twist is always good in my in my experience.
absolutely. And I've noticed that since I've gone deeper into this game and watching other people's content, not even just anime, but just other fandoms or whatever, speculation and everything, I'm like, I see how this happens, and I see how it happened to myself too. You start one-upping yourself on like these theories and the speculation and stuff, and it becomes more and more fantastical every time, and it becomes more and more complex as to where you're no longer even going off of the narrative of the series. You're mainly going off of what you want to happen, and I definitely think I'm guilty of that. Like, going back, I think it was more so me wanting blast to be the bearded worker than it actually being like legitly the case. Because I mean, you can just construct anything really the way you want it with this information. Like you could just make it a compelling argument for him not being the bearded worker as well. And I just think it comes down to entertainment value, I guess, because it is fun to speculate and to come up with these theories and everything. And like I said, I do think sometimes maybe we get a little ahead of ourselves with this stuff. And another thing that I've noticed is that these mangakas, not all of them, but I would say some of them, maybe we put too much faith in them and maybe put them too much on a pedestal, because some of the times I'll like read an interview or something and where they're talking about the writing process or whatever, and then they'll say like, "Oh yeah, I actually just forgot about that storyline," or they'll ask like some like super interesting question that people have been wondering about, like, okay, so what's the secret behind this character? Did you purposely make this storyline happen that way? And then they'll say like, oh no, I kind of just thought it was cool, or they'll say something like that. Ah, I was putting you too much on a pedestal, and maybe I need to pull back a little bit on that, because while they are super talented, amazing writers, and I think that's another reason why these manga series have such broad fan bases, because it's very I'd say accessible to many people because the writing is so good, and these characters are relatable despite how incredible they are. But maybe sometimes we put too much on them and think that the writing is too complex and too deep when it's maybe kind of shallow sometimes.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think that once you give, you know, high expectations to another person's dream, you kind of set yourself up for, a little heartache and, failure at the same time, because you can have as much hopes as you want to make something, in your imagination real, but you have no control over it unless it's your own creation, So you can build your own universe with, the protagonist or antagonist of your dreams, But you can really only, be a fan of another person's, dreams. Just that's just my line of thinking.
No, that's pretty much spot on what it is about. And
Hmm.
going back to what we were talking about with Beerus' background there, I think Dragon Ball Community is a perfect example of what we were talking about, because I think they're uh, just like starving for Dragon Ball to have more depth to it.
Hmm.
So like you'll see all of these wild, crazy videos that are very entertaining, and like going into these deep theories and giving these characters way more nuance and backstory than even the creators have, and even the writers and whatever have. And it just goes back to like what you were just saying about you can only experience someone else's dream, to be honest, and you just kind of have to go with it unless you make your own thing, which many people have. I don't know if you're aware, but there's like 12 or like 20 fan Dragon Ball mangas that are going on. And it's not just like some, thing that's getting like 12 views on DeviantArt or something. I mean, these
Hmm.
things have massive fan bases, like thousands and thousands of people. So I just think that goes back to, what you were saying too.
Oh yeah, without nerding out too hard, I follow a lot of creators on YouTube and other platforms who have spin-off stories, what ifs, their own, after like let's say a new chapter comes out and they put out probable, made up animes or made up stories about what's going to happen next. So yeah, man, as a fan since I guess you could say 1990, since I first saw Dragon Ball, Ronin Warriors, Fist of the North Star, stuff like that. It's just like okay.
Holy crap. Dude, 1990, that was like super deep cut at that time. Like for you to even be aware of Dragon Ball in 1990 is like super impressive. Like I think it was like not even localized at that point, was it? I mean, I don't really know the exact history of Dragon Ball coming over to the United States. As far as I know, it was like the late 90s really when we started getting it, but man, you knowing about it in 1990 is crazy.
Yeah, being a cartoon fan, getting up, 6 a.m. on a Saturday, to fill my time slot till the afternoon, I would turn on, I think it was like channel 20, and then, here's that Dragon Ball. I'm like, what's this? This is catchy. This is a little kid with a tail. I never seen that before. The next thing you know, instant fan, you know?
Yeah, I think that was also my first experience with just anime in general. I think Dragon Ball Z might have been the first one I saw, but it was like around when Toonami was out, so this was probably like 2001, and it just looked different, because we're so used to like seeing the American cartoon art style and everything, and it's tame, obviously in comparison. So like when you see anime, it's like the style is different. They're more serious, and there's like, whoa, is that blood? Are they actually getting hurt? It's like, why is like what's going on here? Why is this so compelling and interesting? And then you start going down a rabbit hole. And then, before you know it, you just have read the entire series or now you know everything about it and now you want more. And it's definitely you know how they talk about gateway drugs and everything. I think Dragon Ball is the gateway anime for sure for I think most of us at this point. I mean, obviously not the new generation. I mean, they're born with tons and tons of stuff on the internet, social media, and everything. But 2001, when I was a little kid, there was only like Dragon Ball Z and the big three. That was
Mhm.
pretty much it.
Yeah, Dragon Ball's impact globally has been growing steadily since I could say 2000, back when they used to, rerun the Frieza saga or the Namek saga until they actually decided to go over into the following season. It's just like, oh my, I've been waiting for this for years. I'm getting tired of them, stopping right there, like right when Goku was about to, really kick some ass, and then let me go take it back to the Saiyan saga for you, you know?
I'm glad you remember that too, because my memories are like vague of it, but I do kind of remember they kept going in that cycle to where it would get only so far into the Frieza saga. I think even before Frieza even started fighting. I don't remember exactly, but I think it would always end like after Goku shows up to save everyone from like Recoome and everything,
hmm
and then it would go back to the first episode. Like, wait, what? There's obviously more to this, and the only way at that time I was able to see continuations of the series was we had to go to Blockbuster. I'm sure you remember that store.
hmm
But Blockbuster had like the VHSs of like the continuation of the episodes, but even then, that only went so far. So then you had to wait like months and months for the next VHS that came to come out, and the VHS would only have like 3 episodes on it or something.
Man,
And and now it's like everything is available instantly, which is cool and everything, but it's just so wild how things have changed so drastically in what, like, less than 20 years.
I actually realized that there was a network that used to show Japanese TV, and it used to air episodes of Dragon Ball Z on Sunday at like 7 p.m. So I think I like was clicking through the channels and I saw like a glimpse of Goku, and I was like, wait a minute, are they showing Dragon Ball Z on here? And then next thing you know, but it was all in Japanese with subtitles. So that was my only way of figuring out what happened next until I think I rented like the Broly movie, and then I realized I can actually order movies, with subtitles. I was like, okay, cool. So then I realized that Dragon Ball had ended like in Japan, like in the '90s, but oh, we were just getting it years later, and then once you get older, you realize there was licensing issues and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, that makes sense. But now, you can actually own it without waiting. There's no more blockbuster this, so it's just going to cost you $20 or so per set.
Yeah, and I don't mind paying. I'm happy to help or whatever in any way that I can with that stuff. I rarely find myself doing the torrent stuff, not because I'm like it's unethical or anything. I don't care. It's just that sometimes I do legitimately like supporting certain creators or individuals or companies and whatnot. Maybe not so much Suecia. I don't like that company, and I don't think they should be supported, but they kind of have to be because they have a monopoly in all of this stuff. Um, that's a topic for another time. I've had so many issues with that company. But going back to getting like the content, you said getting the Broly movie. That's another thing that reminded me. Because if we weren't able to get the dub stuff from Funimation, then I remember you said you live on the East Coast. I live in Philadelphia my whole life, and we would go to Chinatown in Philadelphia because that was like the secret place that had all of the Japanese VHSs and all of the stuff that would never be able to get otherwise. So I remember we would go to Chinatown with my Chinese friends because the school that I went to around that place, it was close to Chinatown. So we would go to Chinatown and then we would go to like these secret stores that have like, I don't even know what you call them, variety stores maybe. They'll have like toys and other knickknacks in there, and then randomly just like all of the Dragon Ball Z movies for some reason. And they weren't even really that expensive, but the quality was terrible. Like I mean, now if we were watching it, it would be like 180p or something. But at that time, we didn't
Mhm.
care. We were just enamored at seeing new content, things that we've never seen before. Like I remember the first time I saw Super Saiyan 4 and GT, I couldn't contemplate. I was like, oh my god, is this what's going on? Is this real? So it's like yeah, just things have changed, and the gateway anime, Dragon Ball. Yes, I haven't rehashed these memories since I've been talking to you about it now, so it's like all coming back to me. But aside from that, aside from Dragon Ball and One Punch Man, are you into any other manga or anime at the moment?
Oh man. At the moment, my top show as of 2 years ago is MHA. Like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Dragon Ball Z is the GOAT forever. It just in my heart, But MHA right now is killer, and I'm not. You know, uh, I like the story, the progression, the character building, and everything. But when you fall in love with these shows, it's hard to accept the fact that they got to end eventually. So it's kind of like I'm kind of withdrawn from accepting where the story is going. But I like the idea of vigilantes also, having a crossover pretty soon. And it's a possibility of it happening, and if it can continue through that, that would be dope. So MHA. I've been checking out Jujutsu Kaisen. Um, it's decent, in my opinion, but I guess because I guess I don't want to say. I guess you got to have like a certain element for me to enjoy certain battle mangas. So it's kind of like a 3 out of 5 for me so far, and shoot, what else is? I mean, One Punch Man, of course. Um, I can't even think of what else that I'm following currently. I mean, besides like the classics like Konichi and Yu Yu Hakusho, the return of that. Um, and I'm pretty sure I'll think of some other ones later.
You Hakusho's return?
Yeah, so they started the manga back up. So
What?
yeah,
I I gotta put this on the back burner for after we're done here. That's amazing. I love Yu Yu Hakusho.
yeah, I wasn't a fan of the
Wow.
way it ended, but once I heard of the return and I started seeing sketches and like they talk about new characters and things, I was like, okay, I could be into that. Hopefully it won't be like case closed where, I don't want to say Funimation dropped the ball, but America dropped the ball on support, which is why it ended back then when it did, and it didn't continue here, but it kept going in Japan and everything. But
Yeah, I think it surpassed One Piece in its length, right? It's over 1,000 chapters at this point, or 1,000 episodes. It's wild how long it is.
oh, it's been running for 30 years.
Wow. Yeah. That's longer than One Piece. One Piece has been I think 23 years at this point. So yeah, that's crazy.
So One Piece, the fandom recently became I became aware of that within the last few years of how big of a deal. But I tried to watch like I think I'm like maybe 60 episodes in, and it's like I don't think I could make it through another 900 some episodes. Because to me, I see like videos and clips of later on episodes when Luffy gets Gear 4 and all that, and I'm like, that looks cool. But to understand everything, like I'm one of those persons, I gotta watch it from the beginning to understand everything, and I'm just like,
Absolutely.
I don't think I could make it, especially if it's not gravitating towards me like I see it affect everyone else. Everyone says give it 200 episodes, and I'm trying, but we'll see.
Think about how outrageous that statement is. Give it 200 episodes. Like, you know how much of my life that is? You know how much time that is? But yeah, I totally agree with it. And that's why I'll never, try to like get someone to watch it if they even are hesitant about it at all. Actually, one of my friends right now has started it, and he's about, maybe 200 or something chapters in. And even he's starting to get like the fatigue because incredible moments will happen, but then they'll just go away from it. And then you'll go back to the grind, as I call it, because it's a grind to get through that series. And it is extremely bloated. It doesn't have to be that long. I can tell you that right now. It's at its 1,030 chapter as of this recording. And I think that if you remove the bloat from it, it would probably be at like chapter 650 because there's just so much unnecessary stuff to it. But at the same time, it's nice because it has like unrivaled world building and character development because of that, which makes it such a compelling and interesting series because you're not really going to get this from a lot of the other series. And it kind of makes me wish that other series would go as deep as One Piece does, just without all the bloat to it. Like, I think Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super would be the undisputed best series if it took the world building of One Piece and added it to itself, because Dragon Ball does have it. It's all there.
Mhm.
It just doesn't have the writing and the talent behind it to get it to the One Piece writing and character development and world building aspects. But then I remember that like it doesn't need it because Dragon Ball and all of its series, it already has its fan base. Like it doesn't need One Piece fans or people that gravitate towards that or people that need that type of story because it already has you and me and other people like us, to where we're not like, I know this is rich coming from me, but I would say that we're not like the standard weeb. Even though I have like a manga channel and I review manga for a living, and technically I am a weeb, but we're not all created equal, I'll say.
Mhm.
And I'll say that Dragon Ball for sure has like the majority of its fandom wouldn't be considered a weeb. Like look at all of like the pro athletes and all of the meatheads in the gym that love Dragon Ball Z, but they have no idea what One Piece is. So that's why I'm like, I forgive Dragon Ball because it does what it does and it caters to its audience in a very good way. Even more so than One Piece does, I would say. But it's just bittersweet because the potential is there. And I wish one day, if I ever make enough money or get enough power, I would absolutely love to take over the creative for Dragon Ball. Unlikely to happen, especially with the way that Japanese business politics are. But I would love to do it because there's just so much there that can be done. It kind of reminds me of like an athlete who's like incredible, and you can see that they have so much talent, but they're like lazy and they just never live up to the potential. And they kind of just come in, they do what they need to do to, get the job done, and then that's it. They don't give you anything else. And sometimes, it's kind of disappointing too, but you kind of you still love them because they're kind of like a family member to you. Like, that's the way that I feel with some of these characters, to be honest, like Goku, Vegeta, Luffy, Naruto, Ichigo. I've grown up with these guys like my entire life. They're like a part of me.
Yeah, I totally agree. I forgot to mention Naruto. That was one of the shows that became became the number two when Dragon Ball, I guess, took a break after GT, if that's what you want to call it. And I sit back and think like a lot of people don't understand it. It actually started out in a gag manga, back in the 80s. So you got to remember it's like core origin.
Oh,
So
you talking about Dr. Slump?
yeah, yeah. So if you think about that and you think about what Dragon Ball Z is, because I always tell people, you know, um, I have a lot of respect and admiration for people like Barack Obama, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, people who made change in the world. But I get inspiration from characters like uh, Goku or Superman, and I always look at them like, to me, those are two sides of the same coin. They both came from a different planet. They both ended up on Earth. They both grew here and experienced a lot. And that's what made them great heroes. But they always had a sense of doing right, even though they were always looked at as different. You know what I'm saying? But it's the differences that make us great, in my opinion. So, a lot of people don't understand that concept, but just genuine life. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Absolutely. And it's just that I've also it's taken so much inspiration from these characters, and sometimes like I even vicariously live through them. Like I'll like it was more so when I was younger and
Hmm.
more impressionable, I guess. But like I'd be like, man, if they can do it, I could do it. And I know that sounds so cliche, but in your head it sounds different. You're not saying like if they could do it, I could do it. It's kind of more like a feeling. It's like, man, if they can overcome and succeed, even though they are fictional, but just in that specific instance, I can relate it to my own experiences, and maybe this will help me get through it because I personally didn't grow up with like a family or like a lot of role models around. So like I would go to TV or media or whatever, and they would become my like surrogate family or surrogate role models in a way. So it's helped me in such a weird way that if you would have asked me like 10 years ago, I would have no idea that it would have like this kind of impact on my character as a person. And I mean, I know that you can understand that and relate to it yourself, but I feel like that if you were to talk to like a layman about this, maybe they wouldn't understand it. They would kind of think that maybe it's even kind of childish in a way. But it's like I don't blame them for that because this is like a niche in a way, even though anime and manga has become way more popular than it's ever been at this point. I would just say being like compared to like a sport or something, it's kind of niche, and not everybody can relate to it. But just I think it's just had such a good positive impact on my life, and I think it's had positive impact on other youth too, which is another thing that a lot of people don't talk about, especially like the Karens and people like that. They just want to say, like, oh, it's violent or it's sexual, and that's true. That's another issue that I have with these mangakas, selling sex to kids and sexualizing all of these characters. And I'm not like the moral police or whatever, but
Mhm.
maybe it could be done a little more tasteful. But going back to what I was saying, it's just like I think these series have positive impacts on our life in a way because we could see these characters doing the right thing, and maybe they're not always like perfect characters, like in other series. Like they do make mistakes sometimes, and they do make questionable decisions, which is another reason why I think makes it so different from the other standard series because we're coming from these perfect characters who don't make poor choices or questionable things or whatever. And then we come to these manga characters where it's like, oh, sometimes we can relate them to ourselves because we do things all the time that we regret afterwards. So yeah, I just think that it's just a positive thing, to be honest, most of the time. I mean, obviously sometimes you have psychos out there, but I guess that goes with every fandom or community.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think that a lot of people always have misconceptions about anything they don't truly understand. And one of the things I appreciate about your channel is, you know, like from my perspective, it's almost like after hearing you say what you just said, it's like you unwittingly created it as an homage to your development and getting you to where you are today, because I'm pretty sure when you started it you didn't have any idea where it was going to go, or how much inspirational drive it was going to give you. But I'm pretty sure from then till now you just was like, wow, I probably started this just to, put something out there, and now look at me.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, we can talk about that for a little bit.
Sure.
The origin of my channel. So before I started Zhoniin and everything, I was just like anybody else, kind of just going through the motions. I still had one foot, in the door of whether I was going to do college or whatever I was going to do with my life. I was just unsure because, you know, just things were difficult with my life before YouTube. They still kind of are, but not as much. So then one day I came across Dragon Ball Super. Like my friend had randomly told me about it. And they were like, "Hey, did you hear about Dragon Ball Super?" I was like, "Yeah, I heard about the movie, the Beerus movie." And I was like, "That's cool that it came back." And I think that's a good idea, introducing that guy in the universes and everything. Then they told me about the Goku Black stuff. And I was like, "Oh, that sounds super interesting." So then I wound up checking it out, and it was the cycle all over again. Went back to like when I was 8 years old, discovering Dragon Ball for the first time. Just it was like love at first sight all over again. And then I came across like other YouTubers who were doing it, and I was like, man, this is so cool. They get to talk about it, and there's like this community here, and this is just so cool. And before that, I was super into YouTube. I always wanted to be a YouTuber. I always wanted to do it. I think my whole entire life, pretty much, I've been on most of it, most of my self-aware life, because I got YouTube when within the first 12 months it started, I think, like 2005, early 2006, around there. And it obviously wasn't a big deal. It was kind of just a video hosting site. I remember going on there because I was looking for Bleach episodes. And when YouTube first started, it was the Wild West. I'm sure you remember. There was everything. There was porn, movies, everything.
Yeah.
So I went on there and I was looking at Bleach episodes. And then, as time went on, there started becoming creators. And I was just like, man, this is amazing. I want to do YouTube. I want to do this. But, I didn't have the drive. I didn't have the motivation at that point. I didn't have enough character development, I'll say, to actually get the ball rolling. And over time, I saw Anthony Fantano, the Neil Drop channel, other guys like that. It really inspired me. And then it was kind of just like everything converging at once at this point. So I was following other YouTubers like Nick Strength and Power. He's a bodybuilding YouTuber. I'm really into bodybuilding too. Anthony Fantano, all of those guys, and then the Dragon Ball guys. It was kind of just like, you know what? I'm doing it. I want to do this, but it wasn't like I'm going to make this my career. It was just like a big step into me just making the content. So the Dragon Ball Super was in the Tournament of Power at this time, and it had just started. So that was the first episode that I had ever covered on anything. It was like the 7th episode of the Tournament of Power, something. And it was just a still image on the screen, me rambling for 17 minutes. And I was like, yeah, this is probably good. And I upload it, and I'll never forget this. It said no views. and I was like, oh man, what a humbling experience this is. And after that, every single day, and I mean literally every single day, I grinded out YouTube. Like I would work. I'm not trying to sound like I'm this awesome, cool, grinding guy that had such a hard time, but I was working 2 jobs, and I was trying to make YouTube happen at the same time because I had to support myself, keep myself afloat, and I was barely staying above the surface at that point. And just every single day, I would study and I would upload content, and I feel like I would get better every single day, but the progress was super slow. Like it took like a month before I started getting like even 100 views on my videos. Like I remember getting 100 views on my first video. I was like, wow, this is cool, it's happening. And I had gained some traction eventually. Like I had gotten around 1,000 subscribers, which was like amazing. I felt like cloud 9 at that point when I had gotten 1,000 subscribers for the first time. But then Dragon Ball Super ended. This was March 2018. Like with the Tournament of Power ending, the series was over and it wasn't continuing. It was like there was no word of anything. We only knew that the movie was coming. And I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? My whole entire channel is focused around Dragon Ball Super. And I was like, well, there are other series. I can't just follow the other series too. And that's what I did. I was like, okay, so My Hero looks cool. I want to follow that. One Piece, I've always loved One Piece, grew up with it, gotta follow that. But then One Punch Man came into my radar, something that wasn't on it before. And I had heard good things about it. So I checked it out on Netflix, and it was just love at first sight. Like I was like, oh my God, this series is incredible. And then by the time Boros is fighting Saitama, it was over. I was like, this is it. You have me for life. And I started making One Punch Man content. And out of all the content that I was making, that was the one that was getting views. Sometimes it just happens, like with YouTubers. Like you keep going until you find what's going to stick, and then something eventually does, and then you keep following that. So I was like, okay, so the algorithm wants to favor my One Punch Man content, so I'll keep making One Punch Man content. And then I did, and growth happened. I wound up getting 5,000 subscribers, wound up getting 10,000. And then I started getting hit with copyright strikes. And let me tell you, the first time I got them, awful feeling. It feels like you're being arrested or something. Like you're literally going to jail. And because I wasn't accustomed to all of this, it was all new to me. Yeah, it felt awful. I still remember to this day. It's just such a bad feeling, thinking that your channel's going to die, everything that you worked so hard for. But I eventually got over it, got through it, and just kept going, kept making more One Punch Man content. And I eventually had like a breakthrough. Like one of my videos, I forget exactly which one it was. It might have been who is Blast, like a video just talking about who is Blast, and then it went off, and then I started getting some traction, some notoriety, and then the One Punch Man subreddit picked up on me, and they were on my side at that time, which they are not now. And then I just started following more and more series, My Hero, One Piece, and everything. And then just over time, it was just a compound effect. The views just kept going up, subscribers kept going up, momentum, more people kept knowing about me. And then we got to this point where we are now. And yeah, like you said, before I went on my tangent, we wouldn't have known where we were going to end up. And I'll tell you that I did not know that it was going to end up here. I thought that 20,000 subscribers was as much as I was probably ever going to get. And I was going to be happy with that. I was like, man, 20,000 subs, I can make a living off of this. Man, if I get like $1,000 a month off of this, I'm set. And apparently, once you grow up, you realize, oh, that's nothing. And I'm going to need a lot more than that to stay afloat. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we just got to this point now, and it's fun, but man, at the same time, it's also very taxing on the soul, I'll say. Being a creator, I think it's like being an athlete, not in the sense of like physical endeavor, of course, but the way that athletes only have so much time to do something. Like, you can't be a top athlete forever, obviously. You only have like maybe a 10-year window if you're lucky. And then throughout those 10 years, you're taking so much damage to your body. But I feel like with a creator, you're taking damage to your mental health. Because first of all, social media obviously is detrimental for just mental health in general. Mm-hmm. But when you become a creator, and then all of that starts funneling towards you individually, then it's like you're mainlining that poison that social media was in the first place. And I mean, now I've kind of become more accustomed to it. But at first, man, I'm not gonna lie, it definitely did affect me. Like, hundreds of people calling you an idiot or a piece of shit every day. It didn't feel good at first because you're not used to it. You only have like one or two people every so often that will be angry with you about something. But then when you just have like hundreds or thousands of anonymous people all ganging up on you, it's like this new experience. Man, this sucks. So yeah, but I digress.
What got you over that hump from, not taking it in and just realizing that, people are going to feel how they feel?
Because that's exactly what it was. I started to realize who these people were. And I realized that, oh, they hate themselves. There's no other reason why they would be doing this, because I'm sure you don't go on social media and just start lambasting all of these toxic comments and spreading all of this negativity and toxicity. And neither do I. It's just not a thing that I would say normal people do. Mm-hmm. But then you have these people that maybe they started off as good people, but then maybe lifestyle choices that they've made have just slowly turned them into just this toxic, angry, mean person, that the only way that they can get like a dopamine rush in their mind is to spread that toxicity to others. Like, I assume that it makes them feel good. Like when they say like, oh, you're an idiot, or you suck, or you're a piece of shit, whatever. I imagine that there's a reason why they do that. It's not just like, oh, I'm trying to be funny. Like, I think it's more than that. I think it makes them feel good because it takes away from them feeling like shit all day and just not being, a productive member of society, I guess. Even coming to that realization isn't like a spell that you can cast on yourself and like, I am no longer affected by this. It still affects me to a point. I mean, it's just only human, I guess. But coming to that realization really helped, because like you'll see like these DMs or these comments of these people just like so angry and so upset. And it's like, man, I just feel bad for you. Like I'm not even angry at you, and I don't hold any contempt for you. I just pity you, and I just hope that you could somehow see what you're doing and overcome it one day, and just try to change your ways. I mean, obviously, not everyone is going. It's going to happen. With some people are going to be like that for the rest of their lives, but I just hope some of these people can just see the errors in their way eventually, and they're like, oh, I don't have to do this. I don't have to be this toxic person. I can try to improve my lifestyle and things, try to make at least my impact on the internet better.
And I think you're doing that, whether you know it or not. A lot of people sometimes they aren't the sharing type, but they support you as a way of acknowledging your existence and what you might have contributed to their life because people consume content on a daily basis, and sometimes you don't realize that what you're putting out there is actually helping someone, even though I don't want to say you're just having fun, but you're doing something that you feel passionate about. And it's like, that's dope. The first time I got a message about how my content helped somebody, I was like, man, that's a dope feeling. I didn't expect that. And I was like, that's cool, and I appreciate that. And me and that person are actually still cool to this day. You know, we developed a bond through my content, and stuff like that is with those people who are afraid of self-reflection. That's what they don't understand. And if they would just flip that mirror on themselves, they would see that, hey man, it's not them, it's you. But it's not up to you to force them or make them see it. They have to want it for themselves. It's like a person right before they decide to go to rehab. You can drag them there all you want, and they're gonna fight you. It's not until they're ready to do it that they'll actually get the help that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, man. I'm really happy to hear that you have been able to help someone with your content and that it means something to you. Because I've gotten those messages myself, and it's a very interesting. I want to say humbling, but not like humbling in the way of like you getting your ass beat or something, but humbling in a way to see that you're having more of an impact than you thought. Because originally I just thought, oh, I'm just making junk food content for people to enjoy, and then they, for 7 or 8 minutes, and then they get on with their lives. But then I get these messages, people saying like, you helped me through this, you helped me through that, and it's like, wow, I'm I don't know what the word is, but I'm just appreciative that I've been able to do that. Because the other day I was thinking to myself, because my somebody that I really looked up to had died recently, and I was thinking about their legacy and what they had left behind. And I thought about myself. I was like, if I were to unfortunately pass unexpectedly, it's like, what have I done anything significant with my life? And I was like, well, I guess I have helped some people uh, in one way or another, and I think that's super important. That at least I've done that with my life.
Hmm.
Um, at least going that far with something, because I know that if I wasn't a YouTuber, I probably would have not helped anyone, or at least people outside of my immediate, friends or family circle. So I'm just, I don't know. I'm just happy that I can at least do that with my platform, because the last thing I want to do is the opposite. You
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, become one of those people that just spread hate or just bullshit on a consistent basis. So I always like people that I follow. They constantly say stay out the comments. The comment is where you stress yourself out the worst, and I've learned that that's true. And I appreciate constructive criticism, But you just talking shit. It's like, whatever. I'll accept it for now, but once it becomes excessive, I'm gonna go ahead and block you. So, let me ask you this: Are you a fan of What If series?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a big MCU guy. Big MCU guy.
Okay. So, I like the variations and the possibilities that situations like that create. So, uh, one channel that I follow, I've been following for a while now, Unrelent Gaming on YouTube. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
Yeah. I forget. I know it. Alex. Alex.
Yeah. So I did my research on him. I found out that he's, I mean, besides one of uh the world's biggest Dragon Ball Z fan. He's a pro wrestler and much more artist. And one thing that I really mess with is his way of um I don't want to say illustrating, but basically animating someone else's fan manga and making it so just enthralling to listen to or watch the story. And his Murno series, like, by far is one of the dopest things out there right now. So I want to know, did you ever get a chance to check that out and what you think about it?
I had seen him talking about it on Twitter.
Mhm.
Him and Mastar talking about it, but I haven't been able to check it out now. But I'll add it to the my back. I have the Yu Yu Hakusho manga, and then I'll add. What did you say? Burno?
Yeah, Murno.
Okay.
Yeah. So, without giving out too much details, he's basically an angel from the 13th universe that was erased by Zeno, and he comes back, and his his goal is to recover his original body and destroy the angel hierarchy along with Zeno. And man, that story has went so far left and right back, and you gotta watch. It's so many
No,
good
I'll
artists.
check it out. I'll check it out for sure. But this goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning
Hmm.
about how it's there. Like Dragon Ball has all the potential in the world for these awesome stories like this, but they're just not doing it. Like that's an amazing concept. The 13th universe that was erased. There was like I think three other ones that were erased that we haven't seen, right?
Hmm.
So like it's just one that's infinite possibilities right there, let alone just all of the universes that we haven't really explored anyway. We've only known what we've seen in the Tournament of Power, but just like, okay, a random angel like Murno coming back, but then he's trying to wipe out the angel hierarchy. That's amazing. That sound like I'm already hyped just thinking about it.
Hmm.
And that's just a fan manga. Like imagine if that was like actually a part of the story. It's just kind of frustrating. But like I said, I'm at peace with it because they cater to the audience, and that's like the most important thing.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about this day and age. It's possible it can happen. When someone is talented enough, or their story creates enough attention, it's possible to, integrate that. Maybe not in the current chapters that we're in right now, which are, that fight with Granola is really pissing me off, and and that ultra
Yeah.
that ultra ego name is so stupid, but it, it is what it is, but stuff like that, man. Like, without shows like, oh, I can't say shows, without content like that, I wouldn't have made it through 2021 the way I did as an essential worker who I had recently quit smoking cigarettes.
Oh,
Um,
good for you.
yeah, I appreciate that.
It's hard.
A relationship was on the rocks, working every day, can't really go outside. It's just like I needed those things, and along with your show, like I was sitting I was sitting in the truck and I'm riding it, and next thing you know, this video pops up, and it's like the story about King, and then you start talking, and I'm like, hmm, I saw this guy, but I never seen him in action. And then you gave the breakdown about, about how, he's just really lucky if you think about it. So, and I'm just like, the next thing you know, it's like 2 hours later, and I'm into the One Punch Man universe through your eyes, and I'm just like, okay, all right, I can't wait for season 2 to come out. This season 2 comes out, and it's like, okay, where's season 3? And it's like, hiatus. Like, oh, I don't want to say hiatus, but the world shut down. You can only do so much from home, which I understand and everything. And it's just like, man, and you consume so much content, and then next thing you know, you kind of get hooked to the point that you're starving for the next thing. And that's when these what ifs and fan mangas come right in hand, either come in handy because it's like, oh man, Dragon Ball Super isn't coming out to 2022, maybe, as far as the series, but you got this, and then you got great creatives and just great minds that's out here, doing the Lord's work without even knowing that they're doing it, because they're just doing what they feel as though is secondhand or second nature to them.
Yeah, for sure. I like the way that you phrase that, through your eyes. Because I guess we are, when we do follow these creators, we are seeing the things through their eyes. And I guess that also helps with the enjoyment too, because I guess the enthusiasm is infectious, right? Something maybe you wouldn't otherwise have it if this person didn't give it to you. So that's a very interesting way of putting it, and I agree absolutely. But yeah, that's all the time I got today. But this was an awesome conversation, man. Thank you for having me. And I appreciate you for following me. You said back before season 2 came out, so you've been following me for at least the last 2 years. And that's awesome, man. Thank you so much. And I mean, obviously, I know you now, so we'll stay in each other's circle.
Man, most definitely. I appreciate you for joining me today. This has actually been one of the best conversations I've had in a while, just overall in general, man. So could you just do me a favor and let the people know where they can find you?
Hey, just Zhoniin on YouTube. Check me out or not, but to be honest, I'd much rather you guys help this channel grow. My channel's fine. I want to see other creators grow, and such as Big T, he certainly deserves it.
I appreciate it, Jonah. So I'll keep in talk, and I'll let you know, when everything's going to drop and everything like that.
Cool.
All right, man. So take care, man. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, you too. Peace out, man.
All right.
I can't make this up. Being the wingman got me punched in the face by this crazy chick. I can't make this up. Gave this cool old man to ride home, now I'm harboring the fugitive. I can't make this up. Pinned between the fat chick and the speaker, now my shirt smell like her backside. I can't make this up. It's all bad cause my man about to get stabbed in his hand over french fries. Bet.
I'ma let T tell you that story one day, man. It's a good one.
And I'ma let the Landover legend do the rest. I'm out.